Hello, my name is Paul Hooper from Extreme Networks, and I'm here today with Chris Widman. Chris.
Yes, hi, I'm Chris Widman of Extreme Networks, lead hardware developer for the Black Diamond X8.
So we are delighted today to talk about this new Black Diamond X8. So Chris, explain to me what I'm looking at here.
You're looking at the Black Diamond X8, which is a game changer for scalable network deployment for highly virtualized and high-performance computing environments and the data centers.
So scalable and high performance for the data center. Let's explore that. Love the thoughts. So what am I physically looking at here? What are all these ports?
Okay. What you're looking at here is 8 I/O blade modules with 24 ports of 40 gigabit on each one of them, with a total of 192 40 gigabit Ethernet ports.
So I've got 192 ports of 40 gig in how big's this chassis again?
It's 14.5 RU, or 1/3 of a rack.
1/3 of a rack. So I've got 3 of these guys in a rack. And 40 gig is the only performance I can get, or can I get a different speed connector?
No, the 40 gig ports will run at 10 gig, so you have 96 10 gig ports per I/O blade, or 768 10 gig ports for the chassis.
768 in a chassis, 3 of them in a rack. Turns out to 2,300 ports of 10 gig in one rack. Is that right? Did I get that right?
Yes, and it's roughly about 580 40 gig ports per rack.
580 ports of 40 gig in one rack, or 2,300 ports of 10 gig in one rack. That's impressive. How do you get that kind of density, Chris? How have you done here?
We have employed a technology called orthogonal direct connector to provide a very high density architecture that gives us a very high bandwidth.
Orthogonal port connector. I like the term. Describe to me what that looks like.
Sure. The I/O blades insert horizontally, and the fabric modules insert vertically from the back. There is no mid-plane or back plane between. They directly connect for their bandwidth.
So there's no mid-plane, there's no back plane. What does that gain you? What's the advantage of having no mid-plane and no back plane?
It gives us the ability to have improved signal integrity for very high-speed connections, improved cooling and airflow, and it also provides us an upgrade path in the future. In essence, it is the ultimate future-proofing for extremely high bandwidth connectivity.
So great signal integrity, great upgradability, and good airflow. Let's explore those in a second. But firstly, can we take a look at one of the fabric cards?
Sure.
Let's spin it around. Wow, as you take these out, what are we looking at here, Chris?
You're looking at 5 fan modules inserted from the rear, and 8 power supply connections up here for the power supplies. And let's pop out 2 of these. There's one.
Okay, sure.
Second one. And right here you can see 2 fabric modules inserted into the back of this chassis.
So I can see 2. How many does the chassis actually hold?
It holds 4 fabric modules vertically. And they provide, the ones inserted in here provide 1.28 terabits per I/O slot of bandwidth.
1.28 terabits. So that's omnidirectional. So bidirectionally, it's nearly 2.5
gigabits. Terabits, yes.
Wow,
terabits.
2.5 terabits per slot in the chassis. And there's 4 of these. Do I need all 4 for the chassis to run?
No, the 24-port 40 gig blade is 960 gigabits if you think about it. And all you need is 3 of these fabric modules for full bandwidth to that module. The 4th acts as a redundant fabric module. And
this is one fabric module? Are there different types of fabric modules as well?
There's 2 types of fabric modules. There is the 1.2 terabit fabric module, as well as a 640 gigabit fabric module available.
Okay, so I can go with either combination, and they just kind of work with the line cards. And this was the orthogonal design you spoke about earlier.
Yes.
And explain to me why I've got 8 connectors up the top there.
These 8 connectors connect to the 8 power supplies that are inserted from the front. And those power supplies are configured in what we call an N+N configuration.
All right, so I'm going to give these back to you and let you put these back in again. So we've got a chassis here that's we've got N+N power redundancy. So you mentioned you've got 8 power supplies, so the system only needs 4 power supplies to be working for the system to work. You've got fabric where you've got 4 that can be inserted, and it only needs 3 to work. And then we've got these two. What are these two guys here?
These two are the management modules. We've separated the management module and basically the control plane from the fabric module, and we have two of these to provide redundancy as well.
So redundant management, redundant fabric, redundant power, sounds great, but if I'm the guy in facilities, I'm getting worried about the power budget. How much is this thing a power greedy, a power engine here?
No, it is actually quite green, if we call it that. The average power consumption is roughly about 5 watts per 10 gig port, which makes it extremely green for the industry, particularly for a box with this type of density.
So we've clearly got the density, we've got the resiliency built into it, we've got the green. Have we got the capacity? What's the kind of the layer 2 and layer 3 and multicast parameters on this box look like?
Absolutely. The layer 2, we have 128K entries per MAC entries per blade.
Okay.
We have IPv4. We have 16K LPM entries, and with IPv6, it's 8K LPM entries, and 6,000 multicast entries in hardware.
Wow. So we've got the scale clearly in the layer 2, layer 3, and the software level. We've clearly got the density from a hardware level. We've clearly got the power manageability. This thing runs, does it run Exos or is this a different operating system?
No, this runs Exos just like the other products at Extreme.
So we've got the modularity of Exos on top of this to give you increased resiliency on top of everything else we've got from a hardware perspective.
Correct.
And so when you look at these ports, what can I actually physically plug into these guys?
Well, these are QSFP plus ports, and we support a variety of optics and copper interfaces for these. So you can use the 10G base CR, I think it's the copper. We have support the multi-mode and single-mode fiber, and the breakout to multiple 10 gigs, the MTP to LC optic.
All right, so we've got the ability, you can plug in whatever you want to plug into it from the optics level. We've got the density, you've got the performance, you've got the scale. This box looks like it's really ready to go. Where do you see this box kind of landing? Who do you think is going to be interested in this box, Chris?
Well, predominantly high-performance cluster computing centers, data centers, and large enterprise cores would be interested in this chassis.
Because you've got all of the parameters you need, and it's going to be a box that can serve a core of an enterprise, or it can serve a very high-dense data center.
Correct.
Okay, and so when do we expect to see this box?
Early customer trials will begin later this year.
All right, so looking forward to that. Tell me, and congratulations to the team on designing the box that is industry-leading in its density, industry-leading in its power efficiency, and the box that is ultimately going to be able to allow data centers to scale and to grow beyond where they are today. If you think back, Chris, you remember those days when we were talking about 10100 and we had 24 ports of 10100 on a blade. It doesn't seem that long ago. That was 95. And then a few years pass on by, we get to the kind of a few years back now, we have 48 ports of 10100, and then we introduced Gigabit, and then we went to 96 ports of Gigabit. Well, here's a box that's going to allow us to go right beyond that point. We now got 10 Gigabit at that level of scale, but do you see it being able to go beyond that point, or do you see this being the kind of final incarnation?
No, the Black Diamond X8 is being designed for multiple generations of support and new modules and growth.
All right. So with that, I want to thank you for the time, Chris, and I'm delighted to see this box. Fantastic. It's a world-class, world-leading box. It has the density, it has the scale to be able to deliver what you need for your data center to take you into the future. Thank you very much for your attention, and we look forward to speaking to you at Extreme Networks.
Thank you.